So as a result, the Jews were unhappy. I mean, very unhappy. And you see to this day this ancestral hatred of Russia among the Jews. And it began with this group of people now isolated. They're not citizens. They are not going to be allowed to have the rights of citizens. They're isolated in these shtetl, in a group area called the Pale of the Settlement. And the crucial issue is this is precisely the border with the West. So the Jews now become involved in smuggling, revolutionary activity, and this is, beginning at this point, Russia has a huge revolutionary problem on its hands, which it could not solve. It tried to solve in a humane fashion. Solzhenitsyn brings this out in his book, 200 Years Together, which has not been translated into English because of Jewish veto. A rabbi vetoed this. So you cannot read this book in English. You know, this is a Nobel Prize winner, one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, and his book is not going to be translated into English because Jews have veto power over the publishing industry in the United States. And in this book, Solzhenitsyn talks about the problems from the beginning. From the beginning of the partition of Russia, Russia had swallowed something that it could not digest. And so the Tsar hears that there are reports of starvation in the Ukraine. Well, wait a minute. Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. How is it that people are starving? What's the answer to that question? The answer is the Jews. The Jews had lent money to the Ukrainian farmers, and so your farmers couldn't pay it back, and so they owned the grain harvest, and they were diverting all the grain to alcohol rather than to bread, and people were starving to death in the richest agricultural area of Russia. And so the Tsar, well, we have to deal with this. Well, let's turn the Jews into farmers. Well, that failed, because the Jew is not going to work as a farmer, because farming is hard work. And so you give the Jew a plow, what's he going to do? He'll sell it. You know? Any farm implements, he sells them and tries to then take that money and parlay that into something else. So that failed. And so as a result, you have this increasing revolutionary ferment in the Pale of the Settlement that leads to the assassination of the Tsar in 1881. I've been in St. Petersburg where he fell on the ground. They built this elaborate Russian Orthodox church, the Church of the Sacred Blood. So it's like this resurgence of Russian nationalism as the response to Jewish aggression, right there in the heart of St. Petersburg. But it didn't work. The Tsar, the Romanovs, could not come to grips with Jewish revolutionary behavior.